Good afternoon, CSS Nation. My name is Harry Mullen, and we are back at the beginning of this year. Well, it's March, but I know it's been a while since we've done a show. But I want to thank everyone for watching the show, and I'm happy to say that we are back to kick off the year. And to do so, I'm interviewing any and all candidates that are running for a seat on the HSPA board. Today, I'm extremely excited to announce that I have the opportunity to interview one of two candidates for president-elect for HSPA. And with that, let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm going to be interviewing today Anthony Bondon. And without further ado, let's go ahead and bring him on to the show. How you doing, Anthony?
Hello, Harry. How are you, sir?
I'm doing outstanding. Hey, before we get started, on a light note, how's COVID been treating you?
Well, just about like everyone else, we're finally we're very extremely happy that it's coming to an end.
Yeah, same here. It's good to hear. Let's go ahead and get started by having you tell the audience a little bit about your background, who you are. Let's just go with that.
Okay. So I've been in the career field, 17 plus years. I've been in leadership for 14 of those years. So I kind of started, as a midnight tech working while going to school. So doing the kind of dual school work thing. But I have obtained a BS degree, a Bachelor of Science degree in management from Indiana Wesleyan University. I have a surgical technician diploma from Olympia College. And then I have an associate in applied science degree in architectural engineering technology from ITT Technical Institute. So I also, now little known thought, well, probably not now, but I have 25 plus years of ministerial experience. I'm an ordained pastor as well. And then I currently serve as the Central Sterile Manager at HSSA St. John's Hospital in Springfield, Illinois.
Hey, is that where the Simpsons live?
That is. They're neighbors.
They're neighbors. That's good. Yeah. So, exactly, how long have you been involved within the sterile processing realm?
So back as long as I think I started working with HSPA, formerly known as ISHM, back in 2011, where I served as the treasurer for the Wisconsin Association for Central Service Professionals. So I served as treasurer there a couple of years. Prior to that, in 2010, I was just, I was a member. That was kind of when I got my feet wet. I relocated and then became treasurer of the Illinois Eastern Missouri Central Service Organization in 2013 to 2015. From 2015 to 2017, I served in that same chapter as the vice president. During that time, I became a member of the nominating committee. So I did that for a couple of years from 2017 to 2019. I was also considered a certification development subject matter expert. From 2018 to 2021, I served on the executive board of directors. And so that was kind of me getting my feet wet on the national arena. I currently serve as president of the Illinois Eastern Missouri Central Service Organization, and I have been since 2017. And I'm also, since 2018, one of the first members of the HSPA Foundation Board of Directors, and I currently serve on that board as the secretary/treasurer.
Wow. So you've got a lot of experience with state and local, your state and local boards, your international board with formerly known as ISHM, but HSPA.
Yes.
That's really good because that I think a lot of people don't realize. I know in the past, ISHM, when it was named ISHM, you had to kind of jump through the hoops in order to be able to serve on the board and even be able to achieve the ability to become a nominee, for president-elect. And so that's good to know that you're actually coming to us with a lot of background experience when it comes to that. So let me ask you this. When being involved with HSPAs and especially the new board under HSPA for like the past year or so, what is it that you've been doing with them, and why did you get involved?
So now this is so back in I think I attended my first ISHM conference, annual conference, back in 2015. And so at that time, one of our colleagues, David Jagrosi, was the president. And I remember,
Dave.
yeah, I remembered Dave dressing up like a cowboy and running around the banquet room, taking pictures with every man. I was like, this guy's crazy.
So let me interrupt you. So you must have missed the time that he dressed up like the Pope.
Oh yeah.
He is crazy.
Yeah. So, but when we had a chance to talk, he pulled me to the side, and I don't know why. I mean, it was, it was astonishing to me, but he pulled me to the side and he said, "You know what, Tony?" He said, "One of the things that we've got to really embrace is a strategic plan." And so back in 2015, Dave began to kind of plant that seed of we needed a strategic plan moving forward. I do know that, there were some things going on behind the scenes. He had encouraged me to not just be involved on the local level, but to get involved on the national level. And so that kind of really started my journey. And so, I continued to come to the conferences under, Steve and then Damien. And then, when Damien was president, I was able to work with the executive board at that particular time. And so, just kind of the talks with the name change, this is something that has been in the works for a long time. And I believe that it's really essential that we really push, that agenda. The name change was a huge part of that plan, but it's only a small part of a much bigger plan and agenda, and those items need to get out there, and they need to be addressed. They need to be pushed forward. So.
Well, what I'd like to do is at some point later on, I know that Marjorie Wall will be taking over as president at this upcoming conference in Texas next month.
Yes.
And so I would really like to start educating our members as to what that agenda is. What are the things that you all are working on? The things that you can talk about. I know there are certain things that you can't talk about
Right.
until you work out the legalities and have all the I's dotted, the T's crossed. But I think it'd be great to get you all, Marjorie, yourself, a couple board members,
Yes.
on a call to do an interview to let the membership know exactly what's going on and how they can get more involved in inputting, whether it's through their local associations or directly to HSPA. And
Yeah.
just a side note, going back to the name change, thank God, because I'm sorry, IAHSM not spell Isham. And it was always so confusing to me. So I was very happy about the name change, and I'm glad that it went through and that I actually saw the debate. A lot of members were like, "Hey, we worked so hard for this, and why are we changing the name?" And because it really didn't speak to what it is that we actually do, especially nowadays, there are very few hospitals out there that still at a sterile processing might report to the director of materials management, but for the most part, we all report to perioperative
Yes.
services and stuff. So it was about time that we changed that. So.
Correct. And I'll tell you, Harry, one of the stories that I shared in one of our meetings in support of the name change was once I was in the airport getting ready to travel to a board meeting. And so in the airport, I was talking to a stranger, and he said, "What do you do?" And so, and what are you here for? So I said I was traveling to an issue meeting. And so we spent about 30 minutes explaining what Isham was and what we do and how it relates, to who
Right.
we are. And so, that was one of the reasons why, we were in support of, a lot of people were in support of the name change, because you had to spend a lot of time trying to correlate what Isham meant and what Isham stood for as it relates to who we actually are and what we actually do. So.
Yeah. Well, and the new name, Healthcare Sterile Processing Association, it says it all. And central processing, I know some facilities still use central service, central processing, but that really, in some facilities, really relates to the storeroom and back to the mindset when we were under materials management.
Yes.
And so the name change dials it in so clearly, and I love it. I really do. So let me ask you, you are running for president-elect of HSPA. So the question is, why? Why do you want that role?
Okay, so let me share with you. So first, I'm a very servant leader. I believe that a lot of times, uh, at that level, sometimes it can become misconstrued. Whereas, hey, this is a lot of esteem, but there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. Uh, the strategic plan that is in place is an evolving document, and it's meant to kind of change and kind of evolve with what's necessary as far as it relates to our industry. But the position of president-elect, um, there are some initiatives that I feel that evolve or that support that strategic plan that I would like to see pushed forward. I can share with you, one of them is the development of some smaller committees or like small groups that will work on things behind the scenes, to help format what needs to be done, out front, and also to propel and shorten the time that it takes to get from one place to another. The board meets, 4 times a year. We have conversations, there are Zoom meetings, there are things that take place, but the board, along with like Susan and the executive, team, Damien, they can only do so much in the time that they have. And so the formulation of those committees, we have so many of the pandemic. If COVID didn't do anything for us, it propelled a lot of professionals that are working in sterile processing to step out of their shadow, to step out of their comfort zone, and to create a platform for themselves and for what we do and how to share that. So there are a lot of smart people. There are a lot of knowledgeable people who have passions in different areas. How about utilizing those smarts, those brains, that energy? Put them on committees that are relevant to pushing and driving some of those issues, those things that relate to our strategic plan, and let them, because they are so passionate about those areas, propel those ideas into actual action plans that we can then implement. I just feel like that would drive us so much further than it will if we just continue with the same format that we have right now. Plus, Harry, it's important to get more people involved. That allows for the opportunity for more people to get involved, more people to feel relevant, more people to feel empowered. And so that's why I want to run for president-elect.
Outstanding. Well, before I get into the next question, I just want to take a quick break, folks. So we'll be right back. Well, folks, thanks for sticking with us in this show. Again, I am interviewing Anthony Bondon, who is running for president-elect of HSPA. And without further ado, let's go ahead and continue on with that interview. Welcome back, Anthony. How you doing?
All right, Harry.
All right. So the next question, you mentioned a little bit about your strategic plan of what it is you wanted to do. You wanted to get smaller committees for people to be able to get involved. What other type of plans do you have that you feel that will make a meaningful change, not just for HSPA, but for the industry as a whole?
So one of the things that's near and dear to my heart, Harry, is professional development. And so a lot of times when people think of professional development, they think of moving from one position to a higher position. They think about the career ladder. One of my leaders earlier in my career, she shared with me that it's okay for people to be where they are and to embrace where they are. So as it relates to professional development and what that meant, what she was saying to me is that there are some people that work in sterile processing who are satisfied with being a technician and don't undervalue who they are or what they do because they don't want something else as it relates to their career.
True, they're the backbone.
Right.
They're the backbone.
Right. And so when we talk about the majority of the time professional development, people are really thinking about or talking about or referring to how they can move up. But if everybody move up, Harry, who gonna do the work?
Exactly.
So when I talk about professional development, it's relative to ensuring that our frontline staff have the necessary skills, soft skills, the necessary tools to be considered as professional technicians. The skills to be able to communicate, to be able to listen, to be able to recognize how to help our customers. Because by the time they get to leadership, then something has escalated. But how much better is your team, is your family, if your frontline staff has those soft skills to be able to communicate, to be able to, or empowered to make decisions, to be able to hear not necessarily what you're asking for, but what you need.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are things that we as leaders, we're taught in leadership development. We may get it through higher education classes, but what type of education do we have available for our frontline staff to teach them those types of skills, those types of interactions and communication levels for them to be, at the top of their game, at the peak? And how much better would we be if they had it? And so that's one of the things that, that's something also that I really want to focus on, is on what can we do to shore up and improve the skills and the professionalism of our frontline staff.
Absolutely. I mean, I have staff members in the past that have come to me and it's like, well, I want to be a lead, and how come, I keep applying for it, but you're not giving me an opportunity to become a lead. And I think one of the things that they miss in career development is that, all right, you might want to be a lead. You might want to be a supervisor, maybe a manager someday, an educator. What are you doing to show your managers, to show the leadership that you're ready for that role? And one of the things that I would tell my staff is, you need to start doing the role before you get paid to do the role. And they're like, what? No, if you're not going to pay me, that's the miss.
Right. That's a real conversation. That's
and I told him, I said, you have to understand. I said, I took on lead roles many years before I ever became a lead. And then once I was a lead, I took on supervisor roles in helping to run the department when the supervisor wasn't there, and in making decisions to call vendors and such, of course, following up with the management team afterwards to say, well, this happened. long before I took on that role. I started educating people long before, I was actually the system educator at UCLA in Los Angeles and I oversaw 5 different departments of their education. But I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't take on the responsibility of training new staff members and getting that experience first. And I think that's where a lot of technicians miss the mark
Yes.
when it comes to their development of their career. The other thing is stop treating this like a job,
Right.
because we all know job stands for just over broke.
Right.
And you
Right.
treat it like a career, you'll get paid like it's a career, because all of a sudden your mindset has definitely switched.
Yes. There's another area, Harry, that I really feel is under focus, and that's the area of things that go on at HSPA, the staffing, the people behind the curriculum, the people that are doing the editing. Susan, as an executive director.
I mean, interrupt you right there, real quick. By the way, I have an educator that works for my tutor. He's our educational specialist at the school, and he's already gone through the entire CRCST cover to cover so many times, and he goes, "Do you know how many mistakes there are, spelling mistakes and stuff like that?" I said, "Ken, you need to get involved and get on that committee to go through and fix it." Matter of fact, we just completed our first CIS course, and one of the things that he did was he picked apart Rick Schultz's, fundamental instrument book, and just said, "Oh my God, there's so many mistakes." I looked at the picture, I saw what he named it, and it's wrong, because I went in and I found out this is the manufacturer, this is what it's actually called, and I'm like, well, maybe I'll give you his number. Yeah. But no, people need to get involved, because we're all human, and we have many eyes that go through it. But the truth of the matter is, you really need individuals who have an eye for detail.
Yes, and then they need support too. They need support. They need recognition. That's so important to the work that they do, and there are a lot of intricacies that go into what they do and what happens behind the scene for us in that office. And so there's some things that I feel that we need to do to make sure that we're supporting them, like what you said. Getting other people involved and being able to again place people like that in positions to where, hey, maybe that's something that he needs to do. Maybe he needs to leave where he's at and go to Chicago. So those are some things that, again, I just feel those are things that are necessary and hopefully in our future.
Absolutely. My last question is basically, is there anything else you would like to share with the membership? I know that there are rules as far as you can't self-promote, but you know what? You're not self-promoting. We're here to promote you. So I think that that's the loophole in there. But what is it that you want the membership to know about you, and why they should vote for you?
First of all, I feel like whether you vote for me or not, you should vote, because voting gives you a voice. I would vote for the other candidate if I wasn't in the race, but since I'm in the race, I do feel that as if I want to be a candidate that really listens to the membership, that's approachable, that recognizes who our members are, and again, to be that voice that they feel like they may not have. Again, I do feel that there are some things that we need to address as it relates to pushing forward our strategic plan. But that's it, it all stems from our members. And I oftentimes you'll hear me say it over and over, Harry, that although our hospitals may compete for patients, we don't, as sterile processing professionals, compete against one another. And so to be able to increase our network, to be able to share with one another as an organization, you know, we're so much stronger together than we ever would be, you know, apart from one another. And so the networking is a very important asset as it relates to our organization. But even more so is if we don't take ourselves serious, then we can't ask anybody else to. And what does that mean? That means you have to get involved. That means you have to join, become a member. That means that you have to vote. That means that you have to get involved with your local chapter. See what's going on. When there are opportunities available, we look in that chapter first. We make phone calls to the people that we meet, you know, on a monthly basis or every other month basis that we're familiar with, that we form relationships with. This morning, I placed a couple of phone calls over this Joint Commission tape thing that's going on with the instrumentation tape. So I made a couple of phone calls to people who I know in the industry, who I respect, and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And so I was able to pull together some important factors, implement something for our organization as it relates based on the fact that based on the conversations that I had. And so those are important. Look, smart people aren't necessarily, they don't know everything, but they put people around them that know. Yeah. And that's what we have with this organization. And so, but it's only as good as how you use it. And so please, if you don't hear me say anything else, get involved. Get involved. It's worth it to get involved.
Well, I have to tell you, you know, some people after they talk with me, they're like, "Oh my goodness, Harry, you're so intelligent," and I'm sitting there in the back of my mind, and I'm like, if you only knew. It's actually, I'm only as intelligent as the network behind me. Absolutely. And you know, and I'm looking forward, Anthony, to actually add you to my network of somebody I can reach out to someday, and vice versa. People like David Jagrossi, Damian Berg, Marjorie Wall, yes. You know, all of these individuals. You know, you're so right. It's very important to create a network, because intelligence is not necessarily measured by the you know, the smarts, the studying that you've done and stuff. You know, it's like myself, I'm honest. My intelligence comes from 34 years in the industry of actually making mistakes and learning from those mistakes. You know, not going to school. But, you know, 34 years ago, we didn't have sterile processing schools. Right. You know, we had the associations. You might be able to get a book to study and stuff. But I learned along the way those contacts, that networking, which, by the way, no better place to do that than at the upcoming conference in San Antonio, Texas, next to at the Riverwalk at the convention center. Next month, I'm going to be there. Anthony, you're going to be there. Yes. I'm so looking forward to seeing everyone again. It is about time. This COVID really threw us for a loop in being able to meet. Although I have to admit, COVID really put a spotlight on sterile processing. I had somebody tell me one time that the hospital really didn't understand, wait a minute, because of COVID, we canceled all the surgeries. So why is it that you can't process these disposable masks for us? Or why can't you do this? And why can't you do that? And it's like the hospital finally realized, oh my God, there was so much stuff that they couldn't get done before that canceling surgeries just allowed us to be able to get to the stuff that we were just waiting to have time to do.
Yes.
And I see hospitals now where normally they would have 15, 20, small departments, 15, 20 employees, and realizing that, no, we need to get it up to 30,
Yes.
35.
Yes.
Ones that are around 50 employees, we got to get it up to 70, 75, and they finally are realizing how important, how essential sterile processing is to their operations. One of the things that upset me during COVID, I was very happy for the doctors and the nurses in the news and in the commercials touting a wonderful job that they were doing. Never once heard anybody say anything about sterile processing.
None of us. None of us.
Thank God I shaved my head, Anthony, because I would have been pulling my hair out, because it's like, do you not realize that if we don't do our job, they can't do theirs?
I will say that I was proud of the fact that we were able to keep working. We were the only support department that we didn't have to furlough anybody during that entire time. But that's an attribute to my team, and the work that they were willing to do. They were willing to do whatever it took to support those people that were dealing with the sick COVID patients. And so I'm elated that we were in that position. But I was feeling some kind of way that we didn't get to smile for the cameras.
We didn't get the love. We did not get the love. But that's all right. You know what? That's the beauty of sterile processing technicians in management, is that honestly, we've never really been shown the love. And with that, we still have the dedication to show up every day to do our job. So first of all, to every single one of you out there that is watching this show, let me sit here and say,
thank you.
Thank you
very
for
much.
your service in sterile processing, because we are the heart of the hospital, even if people do not recognize that. You know what?
And I really believe that even though we didn't get those spotlight opportunities, you were right in what you said. And I don't want that to get missed in this conversation about the fact that our administration now really know how important it is for sterile processing and how integral a part we play. So take advantage of that, people. Make sure that you let's ride this wave. Ask for what you need. Certainly do it boldly and with confidence, and hey, let them know that, hey, we were there when you needed us, and now there are some things that we need as well. And so again, coming together, we're stronger together than we are apart.
Absolutely. Well, Anthony, I want to thank you for coming on the show with me, to be able to have you spotlighted for the membership to understand a little bit more about you. Good luck in the upcoming election. And remember, folks, he said that it is now on. The vote is on now. So if you haven't done so, go to your emails, look for that email from HSPA, and submit your vote. It is so important, because if you don't vote, then guess what? You can't complain. All right. Anthony, I am definitely looking forward to meeting you in person next month.
Sir. End of April, I'll be there.
Yeah, I'm showing up on a Friday, and I'm not leaving until Thursday. I know it ends on Wednesday, but I'm not, because I want to spend some time. The last time I was there for the conference in San Antonio, I wanted to go see the Alamo, didn't have time, and I'm looking forward for this time around. And again, I'm looking forward. Let's get together, with Dave, and we'll have some laughs. Maybe have a drink or two.
Right.
I'm a Mountain Dew drinker.
Okay.
Yeah. So, of course, I think in the Midwest and down in Louisiana and Texas and all those southern states, Mountain Dew might mean something different than the regular soda.
We'll do the do.
All right. Well, thank you again, and for coming on to the show.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, Harry. I appreciate it.
Well, there you go, folks. Anthony Bondon running for president-elect. And before I leave, I just wanted to make sure that I ask you, if you like the show, please be sure to like and share it. If you haven't done so already, subscribe and hit the notification bell and leave comments. Let us know what you want us to talk about. My partner and co-host, Pernell Husband, will be on the show later on, coming up in the next months. And so with that, I just wanted to say thank you. And also, before anything else, remember, we are here for your education. So be sure to go to centralsterilizationschool.com. If you don't have your CRCST certification, get it. I'm not telling you, if you're working in the field, there's no reason for you to go to school to prepare for the exam. If you have a couple of years of experience, get the books, study, and take that exam. Now, for those of you for the other certifications, CIS, CHL, and CER, we are releasing those courses. We've already released the CIS. But again, go to centralsterilizationschool.com and find out more information. And with that, I want to thank you again. Anthony, thank you, and good luck. And with that, we'll be back.